Hey there. Welcome to Mike's Collection, episode 182. I'm Mike, and the part of my collection that I'm going to be talking about today are some of my knockoff action figures. Now, I will tell you that I actually shot about 20 minutes of this episode, and I lost it. My iPad that I shoot these videos on just crapped out on me. I hope that's not a sign of things to come, because I really don't want to have to replace this thing right now. But it's the first time it's ever done it. I was just shooting my video, talking to you guys, and then the whole screen went gray. The little Apple logo came up. It took a couple minutes to reboot, and it went back to my home screen, and it's as if I never shot anything. Now, I've had a desktop Mac computer for many, many, many years, and that's what happened to that eventually. It was working great, and then all of a sudden it would go to that gray screen. It took 5 minutes to boot up again. And then it got to the point where every time my computer screen went to sleep, it would freeze, it would do that, it would go to the gray screen, it would crash. And eventually I stopped messing with it. So I have this computer with all kinds of music and photos and everything on it. I don't even touch it anymore because of that frustrating gray screen. So yeah, I really hope I don't lose my tablet. I do have an iPhone. I could shoot these on the iPhone, I suppose, if I need to. But I'd really rather not. I kind of like... When I'm shooting on my tablet, I've got a nice big screen so I can see myself very clearly. So if I ever notice that, I'm looking a little out of place or something, I can usually fix that up. But if I'm shooting it on my little iPhone there, I probably wouldn't be able to really see what I was doing. So anyway, we'll see. Hopefully this works. Normally, I talk, and usually there's very few edits. I usually just talk and I ramble right up until the point of the video where I usually want to show you a close-up of the toys, and then I cut away and I flip it around and I show you the close-up view. I might, depending on how long I talk this time, I might have to save it a couple of times and shoot a new video just because I don't want to lose this all again. It was very frustrating to lose that. I had a good thing going here. So yeah, knockoffs. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not going to regurgitate everything I said. Even though you guys, it would all be new information to you, I really just don't want to talk about it all again. I started off by showing you one of my third-party Transformers and showing you how nice it is and how this is a great toy, and basically explaining that this is not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about knockoffs. Even though this is an unlicensed toy, some small little company made it of a character that they don't have the legal right to make a toy of it. There's lots of that goes on in the Transformers community. But yeah, that's not what I would consider a knockoff. Knockoffs, the kind of things I want to talk about today, are basically like junk. Like really, really bad unlicensed products. The kind of things you find in like dollar stores. And more specifically, the type of stuff you find in other countries. This stuff specifically, everything I'm going to show you here today is all from Mexico. The reason for that is one of my best buddies, Miguel. He's from Mexico. I've known him a good long time. We've been very close for a long time. I was the best man in his wedding. He was the best man in my wedding. And, he still goes home to Mexico fairly often. And whenever he does, he usually brings me back some junky knockoff action figures from Mexico because he knows that I love them. I get a big kick out of these things. So I showed you all of the figures in my previous video. I don't really want to go through all of them in detail again, but this is an example of what I'm talking about. I think this is one of the first ones that he brought me. So this is like a Batman figure with a very, very sloppy paint job. It's a very cheap looking figure. Like only his arms move. He doesn't move at the waist or at the legs. His head doesn't turn. He's just a solid hunk of plastic. He's got these big weird silver wings that don't really stay in place. It has no paint on the back. Very cheap junk. So he's got me a bunch of them. So that was Batman. This is Batman's partner, Nightwing. So these colors are way off. If you're familiar with Nightwing, he is supposed to be blue and black. He does not have wings, but this guy has these big gold wings. So yeah, weird stuff. I get a big kick out of them. This Spider-Man is pretty great. the body, I don't know what it's sculpted on, but it's not a Spider-Man body because it's got all kinds of sculpted lines in the detail and like weird armor bits, spiky shoulder pads, these kind of blades on his arms. So I don't know if it's supposed to be, maybe it was a Batman body of some sort, but it's clearly got Spider-Man's head on it. It's painted like neither character. It's got this weird bad spider sticker barely hanging on the front. He's got these big crazy yellow bat wings with this little roller here. So I think it's intended for a zip line. So you could put him on a string and zip him across your room. So again, a very weird one. Here's another Batman. This one's a little closer to actually looking like Batman, but still terrible, terrible paint job. These guys here are favorites of mine. So this is a really, really bad looking Captain America. And a really bad Hulk. So yeah, these figures I have a particular attachment to because Miguel brought these back to me from Mexico on one of his trips. And then when I got married in Mexico a couple years later, I brought these guys with me as my little mascots. And I took little pictures of them all through the trip. So pictures on the airplane, pictures on the beach, pictures in the pool. So yeah, I have a real attachment to these guys here. So even though they're really crappy little figures, like man, these paint jobs, I'll have to do the side by side so you can really get a close look at them. And it's not even just the paint jobs. Sometimes with figures like this, the sculpting is okay. And then you realize that somebody just didn't put any care into the paint. But if you really look at the figure, you're like, okay, yeah, he's sculpted okay. Like the Captain America, you could maybe say that. Like, he's got a human face. He's got a nose where a nose is supposed to be, but his eyes are really sloppy. Those big eyes are not, sculpted that way. That's just how they were painted on there. But with the Hulk, like, he has no face. There's no sculpted face on there. There's no nose. I don't know what's going on there. So it's a combination of bad sculpting and bad paint, and it's brilliant. I love it. So that style of figure, Miguel has got me a whole bunch of them. Here's a bag of, we got Captain America here. There's a gold version of Nightwing. This is probably another version of Nightwing, but he's painted to look like the Green Lantern. Then we have this all silver version of Nightwing, which could kind of pass as a cheap Silver Surfer. Then there's, of course, another weird repaint of Spider-Man that looks a little bit more like the Scarlet Spider. And then we've got another Batman, which is very similar to the other Batman I showed you, except this one's got no wings. Now, a lot of these toys, when I received them, they all came in packaging like this. Just a clear plastic bag with a weird label on the top. This one just says Funny Toys, with a clown and like a mouse balancing on a ball. And then the cardboard, this has just got plain brown cardboard on there, but some of the ones I received had like cardboard with like cereal boxes and stuff, like just whatever junky cardboard they could find laying around, I guess. So this is the kind of stuff Miguel brings me back from Mexico. One of my favorites is this guy here, because this kind of ups the game. So rather than just be a single solid hunk of plastic like those other guys were, this here is Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles. And you know what? I've already talked for about 10 minutes. This seems like a good time for me to maybe stop and save this, just so I don't have to talk about those things again. And we'll talk about Michelangelo in just a second. And we're back. So, Michelangelo here. So, what I like about this figure is because as much as I appreciated Miguel bringing me those figures all the time, they're all kind of similar. And I probably wouldn't have wanted him to continue to bring me the same thing over and over and over again. But this thing here is kind of fun because it's actually a legit action figure. Like, he moves at the legs, he twists at the knee joint, he moves at the arms, his head turns, and he's even got some accessories. He's got his 2 nunchucks. Like, it's a pretty legit figure. Like, if I was a kid living in Mexico and my parents gave me like this to be my Batman figure, I'd be pretty disappointed. But if this was my Ninja Turtle, I'd be pretty stoked. And the coolest feature of this guy, I can't even show you unfortunately, but you notice he's all cast in like translucent plastic. On the back, he has a little soft part here, which is a little battery pack. And if you press that button, he used to light up. And he had like 4 or 5 different settings, like Christmas lights. So if you hit it once, he just had a solid glow. If you hit it twice, the glow would kind of like, it would shine here, and then it would shine here, and then shine here. And then if you did it again, it was like a strobing effect. And so yeah, just really cool. This guy I think is pretty great. I actually just display him in my Detolf cabinets with all my other Ninja Turtle figures, and he fits in great with the rest of them. He's not like a blatant piece of shit like all these other things are. But yeah, so this is a great figure. This is one of my favorite ones that Miguel brought me. Now, these next two, these are ones I actually found when we were down in Mexico. We traveled to Mexico for my wedding, and we went down there and we went into town and we went to go try some like authentic local tacos or whatever. And we found these figures at like a little street vendor here. So let me see, their masks are off. I'm going to put their masks back on and we'll be back again. And we're back. So these figures that I found at a street vendor in Mexico are Iron Man and Captain America. And these guys are 12-inch like Barbie style dolls. And I think these guys are great because it's so different from all those other little action figures I get. So yeah, and these guys, they have this really bright reflective material for their costumes. They really stand out. I keep these guys displayed on a bookshelf and they really pop. They're great. As far as their articulation goes, it's pretty simple. They move like a Barbie doll does. There's no elbow or knee joints, but they do kick and move forward. Their heads do turn. Now you notice the design's a little off on both of these guys. Captain America, he's got 3 stars on his chest rather than the usual 1. Iron Man, he's got like a jewel on his chest and some other weird lines. And then the helmets and the masks, you know, they're trying their best. The Iron Man actually looks pretty passable, if not a little crumpled up. But Captain America here, yeah, that's pretty brutal looking. And another interesting thing about these guys is they both have parachutes for some reason. I don't know why Iron Man needs a parachute. I know I've opened these up. I think I've opened him at least once, and that's why there's all this loose string. I don't think I could tuck it back in there properly. But I think they had unique designs on the parachutes. I don't recall. But that's kind of a neat feature, and it just makes me love them all the more. The weirder, the better. Another thing that's great about these guys is if you do pop these silly masks off, you notice Captain America is just some kind of handsome Ken doll under there. And Iron Man, he's the same guy. So, there you go. That's kind of fun. So I dig these guys a lot. So, why am I talking about these guys today? Well, it's because Miguel was just in Mexico a couple of weeks ago, and he brought me back some more knockoffs, and I wanted to share them with you, so I thought I would kind of set it up a little bit with showing you some of my other knockoffs. Now, I'm by no means an expert on any of these things. Part of the fun of them is not knowing the origins. But there's a website I follow. The website's Plaid Stallions. This guy is an expert in all kinds of old toys. I would say he's probably 10 or 15 years older than me, so our interests don't always align. Like, he's really into toys from the 70s, which I wasn't born until 78, so I'm really into toys from the 80s. But this Plaid Stallions guy, he's very knowledgeable. He's got a lot of good content, so maybe check out his website if you're interested in toys of that era. He's got podcasts. He's on YouTube. He actually publishes a toy magazine called Toy Ventures, which is all about toys from the 70s. A lot of great stuff. And the only reason I mention him is because he published a book, I think it just came out last week, called Knockoff Toys or something like that. I'll find an image and I'll put it up there. I flicked through it at my local comic shop and I thought I would pick it up because, as I said, I'm really into this sort of stuff. The only reason I held off is because it seemed to me that the book was mostly photographs, and I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more text, a little bit of research into these things, a little bit of backstory. I might still pick it up eventually, but at the time, I think the book was $25, and I didn't really feel like just dropping that on a photo album. But yeah, if you're into that sort of thing, I would say check out that book. But anyway, all that aside, I want to show you the new knockoffs that Miguel brought me. So why don't we take a look at those right now? Okay, so as I mentioned, Miguel just brought me back these toys. He gave them to me last weekend, and I am going to open them all, but I haven't at this point. I wanted to do it with you guys on video. And yeah, so he got me 3 packages of action figures. It's pretty similar to what I already showed you. It's the same style of figure in the little plastic bag with the little cardboard topper. But we've got some new characters here. So this here is a pack of, I guess, Justice League figures. So we've got the image from the Justice League movie. And you see that we have got, let me see, there's Batman, Aquaman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and the Joker. So it seems weird that I got the Joker instead of Flash. I don't know why they didn't give me a Flash. But, Joker, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Aquaman, those guys are all new to me. So is Superman, actually. Yeah, I don't think I had a Superman before. So, yeah, these guys are kind of fun. So, let's pop them open. Take a look at them. So, just a couple of staples holding this thing on. I mean, these things have a smell. It's probably full of lead or something, but like they smell like they were just painted before they got put in that bag. It's very strong. Okay, so it's kind of interesting. So it's a very soft, pliable material, but there's no articulation on these guys. The arms don't even move. So that's a little different from the other figures in the line. But I will say the paint job, I was going to say it's good. It's not terrible, but it's better than a lot of the other ones I've gotten. Especially from a distance, he doesn't look so bad. It's only when you get close up, because I think, like, for example, that black above his eye, I think that's maybe supposed to be an eyebrow, in which case it's very thick and weird. But, yeah, so there's Cyborg. He looks okay. Man, I'm telling you, the smell on these things. All right, so there's... They smell like tires, I think, because I think they're rubber. Anyway, strange. So Wonder Woman, kind of weird. Her arm is stuck upwards like that. Again, the paint job on her is not too bad. Like even the 3 little stars there on her like bikini bottom. Yeah, it's not terrible. Now there is an accessory here I noticed that I think must be her lasso of truth. So that's kind of cool. Kind of surprising, actually, for a figure that has no articulation, that they would come with an accessory like that. A little difficult to get in her hands. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work. Yeah, I don't think the grip on her hand is really deep enough to hold it, but sort of. Alright, so there you go. There's Wonder Woman with her lasso of truth. The Joker, I don't know. I have no idea what this guy's holding in his hand here. Honestly. I don't know. Like, the paint job on him isn't bad. Like, the makeup on his face isn't great, but it's actually kind of reminiscent of the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. In that, like, with the painted nose and everything, like, I would have thought that would have been a little too clowny for Joker prior to that movie coming out. But, yeah, that's what I kind of see here. So, interesting. It's not bad painted. Again, little buttons on his vest and everything look okay. It's just, yeah, I don't know what he's carrying here. It's very strange. And, like, the little thing coming off of it, I don't know if that's maybe something that was supposed to not be attached to it. It's just like an extra piece of plastic that's hanging around there. I don't know. Anyway. Here's Superman. Now, they got a little lazy with him because Superman never has an S that looks like that. Superman, we all know what Superman's symbol looks like with the S inside of that kind of triangular stop sign shaped type of deal. Not stop sign. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so that's pretty lazy. I'm kind of surprised with the look of the other ones, how bad that looks. And his eyes are looking pretty crazy. Superman has got some crazy eyes. Although I do like how he feels bulky. Like, he looks like a real muscle man here compared to some of the other guys. So, not a bad figure. I like it. Aquaman. So, this is interesting. So, he's got his trident. It's sculpted in his hand, so it's not removable. And they gave him an upside-down trident. I don't know. I don't think he usually carries it like that. Like maybe if this was like sculpted in an action pose and he was stabbing downward or something. But the fact that he's just like in a kind of stoic standing posing pose, it seems awfully weird that they would give him an upside down trident. Just out of curiosity, I'm noticing that there is some writing on his butt, like a copyright. It just says DC Comics and some numbers. Yeah. Anyway, I can't imagine these things are officially licensed in any way. But you can see he's got the long hair and the beard, so they're kind of going for the Jason Momoa Aquaman, which would make sense, I guess. All right, and lastly, Batman. So this Batman's pretty cool in that he finally has a cape instead of the big crazy bat wings that all of my other Mexican Batman have. And his arm is sculpted upwards as well, just like Superman and Wonder Woman. And he's got a grappling hook. So, yeah, not bad. Although another major oversight here seems to be that he doesn't have a bat symbol. It doesn't appear to be anything sculpted. And there's also nothing painted. Now, if this is the Justice League version, like if you look at that image, I think the Ben Affleck Batman, like he has a pretty dark bat symbol as opposed to, the yellow circle that we're used to seeing on a lot of other Batmen. But still, it doesn't look like they bothered to sculpt or paint any sort of bat logo on him. So, that seems to really miss the mark. Batman and Superman have the most iconic logos of the Justice League crew. So to screw those up, nope. That's a fail there, Mexico. Anyway, those are interesting figures. I do feel like I'm getting high off of the smell of them. Anyway, this next one, he's kind of fun. I actually gave you a little sneak peek of this guy in my last video if you were watching. But this is a larger Superman. So this is like, I guess, 6-inch Superman? So he'd be to scale with like your Marvel Legends. Not that I think you could get away with displaying him there. But what's interesting is Superman. By the way, nice logo on this Superman. So we all know Superman is a DC character. He's a member of the Justice League, as was evidenced by that last packaging. But here, he's an Avenger. They've got all Marvel characters up there, the Avengers logo. But that's what they decided to stick on Superman. Very interesting. Anyway, again, just a couple of staples. Alright, there we go. This guy's, he also smells, but not nearly as strong as those other guys. And this guy's pretty cool. Like I said, like he feels kind of like, the material's kind of weird. It's a little soft. The cape is very soft and pliable. Now you notice not only is the cape see-through, but the whole guy, at least his suit, is kind of this translucent blue, so the light kind of travels through it. Now his face and his hands are painted solid colors, as is his symbol. But yeah, this guy's pretty neat. And as far as articulation goes, so he does have articulation at the legs, articulation at the arms, does turn the head. Nothing at the waist, I don't think. But yeah, this isn't a bad looking figure. And now what's cool about him is I can finally show you what my Michelangelo used to do, because this guy has a button on his back. And if I light him up, there you go. You get light up Superman. And I think he does the same thing where if I hit it again, yeah, now he does a different effect. And if I hit it again, does it do anything else? It's hard to press the button properly. Okay, so now he's doing kind of a fade in, fade out type of thing. And then he's off. So yeah, he's got like 3 or 4 different modes there. So that's what my Michelangelo used to do. So I'm not sure what Mexico's fascination is with putting Christmas lights inside of their heroes, but it's kind of fun. And I don't have any American Superman toys that do that. So yeah, this guy's not too bad. Like it's still, like it's clearly a piece of shit compared to the other Superman figures I have in my collection. But yeah, if I was a kid living in Mexico and I wanted a Superman toy and, my parents brought me this home, yeah, I wouldn't complain. Like it looks like Superman. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I like him. Thanks, Miguel. And the last one. This is the one that I was kind of most excited about because Miguel was gone for a couple of days. And I said, hey, man, how's your trip going? And he said, oh, pretty good. I found you some stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah? And he sent me a picture of just the back of this packaging. And I was like, ooh, that looks pretty cool because I'm pretty used to, these superheroes. Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. Even when I've gone to Mexico, I've been down there twice with him now, and I went to the Dominican with him. When I'm in those places, it's pretty easy to find kind of crappy Spider-Man, Superman stuff. Oftentimes I found they were like statues rather than figurines at all. So that's what I expect. When Miguel says he's going to bring me back some figures, I'm usually expecting some sort of Batman or Superman. So things like a Ninja Turtle, that's great because it's kind of a little off the beaten path. So he sent me this picture, and I was like, oh man, that looks awesome. I'm excited to receive these guys. Anyway, so before I show you this last package, I think I'm going to stop the video again and save it. I'm still a little bit nervous about losing everything. So yeah, let's cut away for a sec. Okay, so this last thing I'm going to show you, and I forget the wording that he used, but when he said he went to the store and he specifically asked the clerk, the lady at the store, if she had any, I don't know what he said exactly, but I think he was looking for, do you have any cheap Mexican toys? Because, in Mexico, they do sell legit Hasbro toys and all that stuff, but that's not what I want from Miguel. I want him to find me that's Mexican street junk. And so he said the woman was like, oh yeah, we have some authentic, real Mexican knockoffs or something along those lines. So that's what she said that she had, and this is what she gave him. So this is Masters of the Universe, some He-Man knockoff. So I don't know if this is the kind of stuff that has been, has Mexico had this stuff since the 80s kicking around? Or is it just since, He-Man's kind of had a resurgence in the last couple of years here with the Origins line and the Revelation cartoon. So I don't know if that prompted one of these junky little companies to revisit He-Man. But this is a pretty great set. And it's pretty different from any of the other stuff I have. Now, mind you, it's the same style of figure as a lot of that stuff. But they're a little larger. They look like they might be a little bit more articulated. So let's see here. Okay, there's a piece of tape along the back I can open up. Okay. So first off, here is Battle Cat. So I don't think he lights up, but he's cast in that translucent plastic, so the light travels through him. He's very cool. And there's something about him where he kind of looks like Battle Cat in the cartoon. He had an alter ego that was Cringer, where he was kind of a scared little cat who would cower close to the ground, and then he would grow into Battle Cat. This kind of looks like Cringer in maybe mid-transformation, because he looks small, he looks cowering, but he's got the Battle Cat armor, and he looks angry. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Now, it looks like his tail's articulated, and his head is articulated. It can turn from side to side. But otherwise, that's it. But yeah, pretty cool. I dig it. Now, we also have Panther. Now, he appears to be the exact same sculpt, which would make sense. Because even in the high-end lines, like the original Masters of the Universe and the Masters of the Universe Origins and stuff, they use the same molds. Panther, which is Skeletor's cat, steed, it's always the same mold as Battle Cat. Now, I do see that he's got a harness that was sitting loose in there, so there's a little peg on his back. So it looks like I could just plug the harness through there, although it's not as easy as it would look. Anyway, it's cool that he has that. So he has a little saddle that's a separate piece. But yeah, I can't seem to get it on. I'm going to have to wrestle with it a little bit, and I won't bore you with that. But yeah, very cool translucent Panther. Oh, and you know what? This is interesting. So first I saw this in there. So this is Battle Cat's helmet. So that's cool because whenever Cringer turns into Battle Cat, he gets the saddle and he also gets this helmet. So let's see, does it fit him? Oh yeah, I just noticed there's a hole in his head and there is a peg in the helmet here. So, oh, that's perfect in how imperfect it is. Because like that thing, I think without the peg, you could probably kind of set this in the right spot, but the peg kind of forces you to put it on like this, and it's terribly wrong. Like, these eyes are supposed to be Cringer's eyes, so this should sit much lower. Like this beak should kind of come down over Cringer's nose. So yeah, that's great. I love how poorly executed that is. Very cool. But anyway, what's interesting is when I reached in there to get the Battle Cat helmet, which I'm glad it's there, but I'm not necessarily surprised that it's there. But there's the same helmet in black for Panther, which is something we have never seen before. The original Panther never had a helmet. Now they did give him a helmet in the Classics line, but it was not the same helmet as Battle Cat had. It was more like it just covered the top of his head and it had two big curved horns like antlers on it. But yeah, this is a straight replica of the Battle Cat helmet, just in black, which I think is pretty cool, actually. And it also fits pretty terribly, as you would expect, since it's the same mold. So again, you can kind of see Panther peeking out from underneath the helmet. But yeah, it's great. I love it. All right, what else we got? So now this is, I think this looks like it might be broken. So this is Orko. This is a great looking Orko. I'm not a huge Orko fan, but as far as Orkos go, this guy's pretty awesome. His eyes are just far enough apart that he looks a little off. And he's very short and squat. He's translucent as well. They really love the translucent stuff here. But yeah, so what? I'm wondering if this is broken because I see a couple of pieces here. It looks like this is maybe the light up mechanism that would normally go inside of Orko. So, oh yeah, there we go. So there is a light. So there you get Disco Orko happening. So that's pretty cool. And if I had to guess, this probably has the same 4 modes as Superman. So yeah, that's great. I'm sure I can probably fix that up there. Okay. And then we've got He-Man himself. And he looks awesome. He's not translucent. But yeah, he's got those crazy eyes on him. Looks awesome. So he's got articulation of the arms and at the waist and at the head. No articulation at the legs or the boots. But he looks cool. Like, I kind of like the big eyes. It almost makes him look like an anime version of He-Man or something. But the paint is all like pretty well done. Now, I think both these accessories belong to him. He's got his power sword. So, it's the handle's a little thick. Yeah, the handle, it doesn't easily slide into his hands. I have to wrestle with it. Yeah, and if I keep forcing it, I'm probably just going to end up scraping all the paint off of the handle. But anyway, the sword does have detailing on one side. The other side is blank, which kind of makes sense because the original He-Man figure from the 80s had half of a sword, Skeletor had the other half of the sword, and they fit together to make a complete 2-sided sword. So that's cool. Now the shield, so this is He-Man's shield. Now what's interesting about this is there's just one little nub on the back. It's not painted, it's a gold shield. Normally He-Man would have a gray and red shield. But I was kind of thinking maybe if there was a hole on his wrist here, you could attach it. Because that other hand, there's no hole anywhere. So if he's holding his sword in this hand, there's nothing to really do with his shield. But there is a hole on the back of him. So I guess he can carry his shield around like that. So that's pretty cool. I like this guy. And lastly, we've got Skeletor with his Havoc staff. So that's his little goat-headed staff there. That's pretty cool. And Skeletor. Now he looks pretty good. Not as good as He-Man, I don't think, because the skull seems a little off. If you remember the original Skeletor, his skull was kind of yellow and it had some green in it. It wasn't just like a standard white bone skull, which just kind of looks like what they've done here. They just painted his head like a real skull would look, as opposed to the little more cartoony sci-fi skull that Skeletor had. But otherwise, he looks pretty cool. Looks like he has the same articulation as He-Man. Arms up and down, spins at the wrist. Head, very slight turn of the head. The hood there kind of hinders the movement. And the Havoc staff, I can already tell, it doesn't look like this is going to fit into his hand, because the plastic around his hand, where he's supposed to have an open hand, is kind of, it's not really cut out properly, so he doesn't have a very big hole for the grip. So I'm probably going to have to adjust that myself if I want to display him with this. But otherwise, he looks pretty good. So yeah, this was a pretty good haul from Mexico. So I don't think I have anything more to say about them. I love these figures. Thank you very much, Miguel, as always, for bringing me this stuff. I hope you continue to do so, especially when it's something a little different. Hey, if I get any viewers in Mexico or any other weird place in the world and you've got access to some of these toys, feel free to send me some. But yeah, that's all I've got for now. So I'm sorry that this episode got a little screwed up, and I might have repeated myself in this video, or I might have mentioned something as if I had mentioned something else, and you're like, what's he referring to? It's because I literally shot like almost a half hour and then immediately shot another half hour. So yeah, it might be a little choppy that way. I apologize. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please leave me some comments below. I'm always happy to hear from you. What do you think of these knockoffs? Do you think they're cool? Do you think they're fun? Do you think they're a stupid waste of money? Anyway, I'm interested in your thoughts. So yeah, until next time, I'll be back with another video. So please have a good one, and ciao.